Hello again, and welcome to the Soccer Media Podcast. I'm John Shrader. Stay tuned. NWSL broadcaster Jordan Angeli is with us in minutes. We come your way on a week when the USL made it official. They're starting a Division I league called USL Premier. It'll be a promotion and relegation league with its second-tier USL Championship and the third division USL League One. They'll start in 2028 with 12 to 14 teams, building to 20. Then they'll start promotion and relegation, first with 2 teams moving, and then they'll build up to 3 up and 3 down. This announcement comes just a few days after Trinity Rodman signed a 3-year extension with the Washington Spirit, worth a record $2 million a year. Rodman is now the highest paid player ever in NWSL, and now the highest paid player in the world. The league opens its season in March, and behind the mic again this year, working mostly with ESPN and Jacqui Oatley, is Jordan Angeli. Jordan will work other games as well, but ESPN will be the primary place for her. Spent some time this week with Jordan, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. As a longtime Bay Area resident, I am familiar with the greatness of Santa Clara University, the Broncos, and one of their esteemed alums is with us now to spend a little bit of time talking about soccer, women's soccer, NWSL, broadcasting, and whatever else we come up with. Jordan Angeli, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, John. I was telling you before we started, I've seen everybody else you've interviewed, and I feel like very honored to be in the company of all the people that you've interviewed so far. So thanks for having me.
Well, I'm honored to be in the presence of someone who Jerry Smith found in Colorado and brought to the Bay Area and said, we're going to kick some Bronco butt here. So there you go. Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks to Jerry for giving me a shot, because I think a lot of things happened because I went to Santa Clara. So I am very grateful for that too.
Well, I don't know. The people in the league will say there's 4 ladies who own part of a team in the Bay Area, and all are Santa Clara Broncos, right?
We're taking over. Watch out.
Good for you. Go Jesuits, all that stuff. So you have been very active, have you not, in the effort to get a team in Denver? The Denver Summit FC, or Denver Summit FC, begins in 2026. Can you tell us a little bit about what that effort was and what you had to do, the kinds of things that you went through to help make that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the benefits is I know these women really well who brought a team to the Bay. So I watched Leslie and Allie and Brandy and Danielle say, hey, we have a dream of bringing a team to our home. And I thought, well, I want to bring the team to my home too. And got contacted by a couple of guys who were very into really working in startups in Denver. One ran a company and one had worked in soccer startups. And they reached out to me in the spring of 2023 and were like, hey, we're trying to bring NWSL to Denver. Want to be a part of it? And I had no idea who these guys were. And I said yes, because it felt like it was a real thing. For so long growing up in Colorado, I have dreamt of having a team here. We have incredible talent that comes out of this state. And the thing is, they go out of the state. They can't play here in Denver and in Colorado. And so that little dream that, started many, many years ago slowly started to snowball and become something real in the spring of 2023. We launched during the World Cup. And then over the last really 2 years, worked hard to put in a bid into NWSL, won the bid, and the team will start and play their first game at Bay on March 13th. So it has, honestly, John, like every single step, I feel like I have tears in my eyes just thinking about what this means to me as a young girl who grew up in Colorado, dreaming of playing soccer on TV one day when I was watching that 99 World Cup. And now those girls can dream that and see it be a reality of, hey, I cannot just play professional soccer on TV. I could play here at home where I'm from and represent my state and my family and all that right in Denver. So it's been just a dream.
Okay, I'm going to get back to this in a second, but how does Brandy Chastain feel when you say, when I was a little girl watching on television, you won the World Cup in 1999? I'm sure you've talked about that.
Yeah, it's the first time I met Brandy, I was like, I can't believe you're coming to all my practices. And I really looked up to her and that 99ers team. And when I was teammates with Christine Lilly, same thing. Like, wait, I get to call you Lil? Like I get to call you your nickname. I know you that well that I can call you your nickname. So I think Brandy, she's got to appreciate it, right? Because
Yeah.
she stirred so many dreams and made a lot of dreams for young women a reality. So I don't tell her it too much, but
Yeah.
she knows that I love her. So
You
it's all out of love.
Can't do a good thing too often, right? You just got to pick your spots there.
Uh,
So, you're going to play. Well, the Denver Summit will play in the Big House for a few games, and at the Rapids home for a few games, while they're building a stadium there. Can you give me a little bit of idea of
yeah.
where the home is? Home sweet
Yeah.
home.
So the first game at home for Denver Summit will be at Empower Field at Mile High, which is where the Denver Broncos play. We're trying to, I dreamt big this whole time, so I'm going to keep dreaming big. We're trying to sell it out. Like, let's get 75,000 people, Denver people there. That's the goal. I think the last I heard a month ago, we're at 33,000 tickets sold. So still some work to do, but I believe in this state and their ability to show up for this new team. So the first game will be at Empower, and then two of the next games, the next home games will be at Dick's Sporting Goods Park as we build our training facility and our temporary stadium, which will be down in Centennial. And so that temporary stadium will house the team for the 2 years before the permanent facility will be done in 2028. And that permanent stadium, there's renderings all across the internet, so you can go look at how beautiful it's going to be. It's really in the heart of Denver at two major interstates that cross right almost in the middle of downtown Denver. So it will be a place where everybody will be able to get to really easily, and it's going to be beautiful. It's, they're setting a new standard as to what ownership is willing to do in this league. And I think that having their own stadium is going to be something that continues to push the envelope of saying, NWSL, we're, in year 13, but we're continuing to push the envelope and continuing to get better and better and better. And just really looking forward to not just the first game, but so much more to come.
I will tell you, 33,000 or 53,000 or whatever you get will feel like a horde. In 1996, we did games at Mile High Stadium, the old Mile High.
Yeah, I went to those games.
And there might have been 5,000 people there, and it felt like 3. And we did games in Kansas City, same story. Ohio Stadium in Columbus, same story.
Mm-hmm.
So you are so much further ahead than 30 years ago when we were trying to figure this thing out and playing in football stadiums. So how much do you then have to do with the day-to-day operation of the soccer club?
Yeah, not really much to do with that. I support them, as to what they're doing. And I am hopeful that I will be able to do what I do in broadcast, which is do some interviews and really storytell with this team. So not really anything on the field. My interactions with the team will be on a content basis. So, the reason that my big thought about NWSL and how much we've grown is a lot of it has to do with the product on the field, but I still don't think we're at where we need to be when it comes to storytelling. And as you know, John, it's hard to storytell during the middle of a soccer game because there's it transitions so quickly. So my thought about this Denver team and how I want to contribute to what they're doing is, can I storytell? Can I get people to fall in love with these players, with their particular story that, is specific to them, but is relatable to other people? Because that's how you also build fan bases, right? That's why you watch the Olympics, is because you learn about these players, these athletes who have incredible stories, and then you root for them. So I'm hoping I can storytell really well for these players, which will in turn make this league better because more people will support, more people will know who these players are. And I think it's a win-win all around.
Now, will you be allowed to broadcast Denver games?
I will not broadcast Denver games on a national level. I might do a few local games for Denver. That's still, a lot of that is this Denver team had a pretty quick timeline. It's been a year since they were announced that they were going to get the franchise. So there's a lot still to be put in place, but hopefully can call a couple of local games here in Denver, but on the national level, no, I will not call any Denver games.
Yeah. All right. Here's our pivot to your day job and your night job and your weekend job and everything else is broadcasting. And how did you wander into this line of work?
Yeah, it's a good question. Very differently than anybody else. As you know, I went to Santa Clara. I tore my ACL twice in a year at Santa Clara. And fortunately, I got back and got to play a really good year in WPS. My rookie year, had an excellent year, but my first game of my second year, I tore my ACL for the third time, all on my left knee. And, the reality of being a professional athlete is you're not going to be a professional athlete for your whole life. So you know that the end is coming. Just unfortunately for me, it was, I knew that end was coming a lot sooner than I would have hoped. So when I was recovering from my third ACL injury, I didn't know if I'd ever play soccer again. And I just wanted to be happy. And one of the things that has always interested me is talking to people and interviewing people and talking about the game. And so I was like, well, I'm going to give this broadcast thing a shot. So we had a local station here in Colorado that broadcasted high school sports. It was called CSPN. And I cold emailed the guy who ran it. I found their email address, emailed them and said, hey, I'm a professional soccer player. I think I want to call soccer games. Like, can you give me a shot? Can I try? And so my first ever broadcast was, 13 years ago in Colorado Springs. It was a high school soccer game. It was a 3-person booth because they already had the other 2 people. So they just added me in. And I left that game knowing that I wasn't very good at it. But I also knew that this is what I wanted to do. And I called my dad and I said, Dad, I think I figured it out. I think this is going to be it. And so, I just hunkered down. I really didn't make a living from broadcasting until I moved to Columbus in 2020. Until then, I was barely getting paid to call NWSL games, to call CU women's soccer games, DU women's soccer games. I was doing a little bit for radio for MLS for the Rapids, but got paid $100 a game. And, I just was doing anything I could do to make this something that I could make my living. And it was a grind, a real grind, but I'm glad I stuck with it.
So I can tell just by the microphone is on and you're happy to be here. It's like it's like a lot of us. And when I was a teenager, I got this same bug, same, and I hate to say virus because you mentioned 2020, but you know what I mean. The metaphor is probably not great, but you kind of get that where when you're done with it and you get up in the morning and say, I can't wait to go back and do that again. And did you have any idea that there was a thing that this could be, this sort of, maybe the only thing that you felt like was playing soccer, maybe, I don't know, the kind of thing that was just so joyful and you recognized it right away?
My sister actually sent me a video recently of me at my grandma's 80th birthday party, and I'm interviewing people. Like, there's a camera in my face and I'm interviewing people, like pretending to be a broadcaster. So I think I've always liked, I know I've always liked being in front of the camera, but nothing is going to replace playing soccer and the freedom and the joy and the competition and all of those things that you get as a professional athlete. Like, it is truly a unique experience that I'm so grateful I got to be able to experience. But this gives you a lot of the same things, John. Like, you're studying film. Well, I studied film when I was playing soccer, right? I study film not only to watch the other teams, but to make myself better. When I played, I studied film to watch the other team and make myself better. You get reps and opportunities, and you make mistakes and you have to have short-term memory and move on. Nobody's perfect. And I think that some of the things that I learned as a soccer player really help and transfer well to being a broadcaster. And it's been really cool to watch, just as it was playing soccer, watch myself get better year after year after year. I feel like in this industry, I've really got to see myself flourish and become me, not anybody else as a broadcaster, like myself and what my voice is, and get to live that out and teach people about the game, but also really just enjoy the game. I think that is part of what I want to do as a broadcaster. So it is something that you just get the itch, and you once you experience it, you want more. And I'm just really thankful that, yeah, I guess I didn't give up and I kept persevering it, even in those years when I was paying to be a part of it and not making any money. I still did it for some wild reason. And, here we are.
And here you are. You can smile about it and have
Yeah.
fun about it. How long did it take you, if at all, to learn that you had to criticize friends, former teammates,
Mhm.
associates? We all like some people in the business, and we maybe don't like other people in the business, but we have to treat them all the same, right?
Mhm.
So you have to be critical sometimes of people you like, that you were friends with. And
Mhm.
how did you come to terms with that?
I think being critical is actually, part of it. It was part of it as a player too. Like if you weren't able to figure out what was going wrong and pinpoint it, you're never going to get better. And so I think being critical is okay. I never try to be rude or try to, I treat these people like human beings. Like,
Mhm.
I know what it's like to be out there, and sometimes things just don't go your way. And,
Yeah.
and sometimes when the same mistake is happening over and over again and you don't say anything about it, well, then you're not really doing your job as a broadcaster. You wouldn't be doing your job as a teammate if you didn't say something to your
Yeah.
friend. So I try to tiptoe this line of like, I think being critical is important. And I don't think, I can't think about what players are thinking when they listen to me, but I feel like overall, because I understand the game and I understand the demands of being on the field, I can tiptoe that line that is in a respectful way, but also in a real way.
Yeah.
I have to tell the truth. And so that was an interesting thing to figure out. But now I feel like as I've gotten older and maybe not so many of my friends are playing anymore, it gets maybe a little bit easier. But it's the same, same vein. I really try to be respectful with how I talk about people.
Yeah, and I always try to think of it a couple of ways. One is you can't make it personal, and
Right.
you can never make it personal. And frankly, the coaches and the players all know, it's not like you're telling
Exactly.
them something they didn't recognize.
Right.
That winger is killing me, and
Right.
they've been killing me
Exactly.
all night long. She just told the world about it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And maybe in those cases, I think about the other, not just like, hey, that winger is destroying the outside back. Maybe I'm just like, the outside back needs to adapt. Like, what are
mhm.
you doing to adapt? Is your center back talking to you? So I go about it in a way of like, clearly there's an issue here, but I'm not saying like you're getting smoked. I'm either praising the attacker or trying to find a way to kindly say that there needs to be some changes.
Well, look at this smile. I mean, how can you not, how can you get upset about that, right? So television, on NWSL, help me if I get, I want to make sure I get this right.
Okay.
ESPN, which is where your primary work is going to be this year, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And then CBS and Paramount, Prime, Ion, a new venture called Victory Plus, which is interesting to me. And
Mhm.
then you can also catch games on NWSL Plus. You can get it online. Did I capture them all? Is that
Yeah,
it?
you got it all. Good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote it down from the website, so I can follow. So the ESPN games that you're going to do, how did that come about? And do you have any idea of on, when and on what nights and what days and that? Or we're just going to have to check our local listings?
Yeah, you're gonna have to check your local listings. It came about. I have been in the league since 2017, so I started calling games all the way back then. I retired in 15. had already started broadcast, as I said, in 2013. And so when they started calling games out of a studio in Florida called Vista, I went down there and I started calling games in NWSL since 2017. So this year, with some life circumstances for me personally, I won't any longer be going down there every single weekend to do those Ion games that I have been doing over the past couple of years, which has been so much fun to be on Saturday nights and know that I could tell you, tune in Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern time. That's when the game's going to be. This year's a little different with ESPN. But the great thing, I think, in all of this, John, is when you're talking about all of the broadcast partners, is all of these really big networks want to partner with NWSL. They want to have rights in this league. And one of the things, and it from working in MLS for a long time, broadcast deals are big. And the visibility that we get through all of these different networks with, a lot of the viewership overlaps, but some of it doesn't. Some people turn on Ion and they've never watched an NWSL game before, and they get to fall in love with this league and then, go to the other places to watch the games. I think that this is one of the big deals where I can sit here and say, now this is my job. This is my living. And, that wouldn't be if we didn't have media partners and multiple media partners to make this a reality, to make the league look bigger, to continue its growth year after year, and to really push the limits of viewership and visibility, because that's how you continue to make a league be successful.
So a little inside broadcasting here now. Do you actually get to go to the stadium sometimes, or do you have to kind of do it in front of your monitor there?
Yeah, sometimes I get to go to the stadium. So
Yay.
I have been in the league since 2017, and I believe this last year I actually called a few games. I called 3 games on site. But normally I'm not calling anything on site. It's all out of a studio, which, has worked really well for NWSL and allowed them to kind of get the best people calling games on a regular basis. But yeah, I think I've called 8 or 9 games on site since 2017. So not a lot of games at year at all, but yeah, I really cherish those. It's been fun. I've been to Audi Field a number of times, and there's really nothing like standing there and hearing the crowd roar when the home team scores, or be silenced when the opposition scores. So I do cherish those times I get to be in a stadium, but I like the studio. It feels like my second home. I've been there for so long.
Well, and darn it, if we didn't have such a good professional generation or two of announcers who make it sound like you're there, they might send you to the stadium more often. But this sport as broadcasters, has adapted so well to that technology. And frankly, you can do more games if you're not spending 2 days a week traveling. But I agree with you. Nothing replicates the actual experience in the stadium, but you have to be really good at making it sound like you're there.
Yeah. And I hope it does feel like we're there. I mean,
yes, it
to
does.
To me, it is, I pretend like I'm there. Like, that is my goal, is to try to do everything I can with my nats and the views that I get on my monitors to make sure it feels like as close to the real thing as possible.
Yeah, you have to be careful, because if you put those gnats in your ears too loud, then you might need some help hearing later in life. Like
my knobs are down like all the way.
Okay.
I get enough, but I'm not like, I know what you mean, because I've worked with some people that I can hear their sound.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, not good.
What is it? And you probably have answered this, Jordan, but what is it about the broadcast business process that gets you out of the door in the morning? What is it that when you're done with it, you say, this is really the joyful thing about this job?
Well, I think in general, I just really like seeing people succeed, especially these women. I have been in their shoes. I have played in this league, and to be able to speak about them and to watch them triumph and score goals and save goals and to break down a play that they did that was really beautiful, or a defensive effort that totally like wowed everybody. The fact that I get to talk about that and give the words and the light, give it its color, really. Like, that's why we're called color commentators. It's just so fun to me. And I think it's fun because that's where my heart is. Like, I really want people to succeed. I want these women to be celebrated for the work that they've put in to be the best of the best. I know what it's like to be them and just to be little girls and to want to have a shot at something that's so much bigger than you. And so at the heart of it, I think that's really what keeps me going, is like, I get to be a voice to these really big moments that mean so much to these women who have worked their lives to compete at this level, to perform, to win, and to make their names known. And I love watching. I love that part of it.
How do you feel, and I hope you understand this is a fair question, how do you feel about being in a generation that has sort of helped get maybe over the hump, big jumps? We're not just talking about soccer. We're talking about volleyball and softball and lacrosse and hockey, and, go through this whole list of sports where women are, and wow, look at this, professionals. And how do you feel about kind of being in that generation that has helped give it this big jump?
Yeah, it's really interesting, John, because in the leagues that I played in WPS, and then I played at the beginning of NWSL, and not so much in WPS. I think in WPS it felt really big. So there were ways that it felt like you were a professional, like really a professional footballer. But at the beginning of NWSL, there was really this feeling by a lot of us that we were creating a foundation. We had seen 2 leagues already fold, and after 3 years, and I think we understood the sacrifice it was going to take in order to build a foundation that was worthy of being built upon. And so I look around at some of the players that I got to play with. I look at my small piece of the puzzle, and I'm just really proud of these women who sacrificed a lot. Our contracts at the beginning of NWSL were $13,000. Like, we weren't making any money, but we knew that if we sacrificed a little bit on the financial side, that maybe the league would go another year and another year. And now we've gotten to the point where there has, it's just so cool to know that foundation was built really, really well. So now they can build upon it and they can ask for more. And broadcasters are coming to us to say, hey, we want you on our network. These are the things that make me really proud. And it's exciting to be a part of a place where people are celebrating women, like celebrating and watching and tuning in to these women who are competing at real, I think NWSL is the best league in the world. It is so competitive. You never know what's going to happen. And so it's cool to be like, I feel like a spectator of it. I feel like it's been nice to watch and build the foundation, but now to watch them really flourish and its growth to continue to go. I think for me, the best part is knowing that like what we sacrificed for was purposeful, and it has really paid off.
So that $13,000 might not have seemed like a lot of money until you got into broadcasting and you realized 13,000 is a hell of a lot more than
I was like, wait, I'll take that.
I've been making $100 to do this game. That's great. Hey, a couple final things here. 2015 you retired, 2017 you start broadcasting. Now you look at there are 16 teams. And a couple more coming soon. I guess Atlanta in a couple of years and maybe another one. Talk of more expansion. And maybe as importantly, stadiums are being built and billionaires, not just people interested, but billionaires with the B are interested in investing in this game. And those are some pretty important things to note about the sport now, right?
Huge. Well, just what you're talking about, the growth of women's sports. If you're an investor and you have billions of dollars, you want more. You probably want more money, and you want to invest in things that are going to make you more money.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at the margin of growth for professional sports, some of the big leagues don't have that big of a margin, but because NWSL is on the up, there is so much room for growth, and we are seeing it grow. So just even how much it's grown from 2020 when Louisville came into the league until now. Louisville paid $2 million to get in the league. I can't remember what the last number was with Arthur Blank for Atlanta, but it's upward of $100 million just to get an expansion team in this league. So, and even that investment is a small investment compared to what the growth of this league can be. So I think it's really exciting that there is so much potential in women's sports, and it's deserving, because of the product on the field, that they've just continued to get better and better. And so it's to me, it makes sense that people want to be a part of it. So I'm glad all those billionaires are feeling that same way too.
Yeah. Touchy question or not, I'm not sure, but are the women being paid fairly? Is there plenty of room for that?
Yeah, it's gotten way, way better. I'd have to double check what the minimum amount is for the current year on their contracts with their CBA. But yeah, these women are getting paid a lot better. I would say range from 60 to, 6 digits in $200,000-$300,000. So it's getting there. And the nice thing too about these women is they're so marketable, right?
Yes.
They have been able to use their platforms on the social side to get endorsements and marketing gigs to make some more money too. So yes, the contracts in the league are continuing to get better, which is all we really wanted. But also some of these players are really making a good amount of money.
Yeah, well, and I'm good. I'm glad to hear that. And hopefully more billionaires are interested, and more teams and more stadiums, and 60,000 people at your Mile High Empower Stadium, then
let's go.
The messages keep sending. Congratulations on your efforts and lots of others to get a team in Denver. The Denver Summit FC, or Denver Summit FC, opens soon. Season starts in March. And congratulations on everything. And thanks for a delightful half an hour. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, John. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you taking some time to get to know me.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate that. And we'll do it again. See, you made a mistake of being fun and interesting and likable.
Okay.
And then people call you back and they want more. So there you go. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Jordan Angeli talked her way into the broadcast business, and here she is now working some of the biggest games in American soccer. And again, we thank Jordan for her time. And we hope you can take a minute to subscribe to us, to send us a comment, maybe like us, give us some ideas. Check out some of the folks we've had here on this podcast: Andres Cantor, JP Della Camera, Taylor Twellman, and more. And we hope you can join us next time around for the Soccer Media Podcast. I'm John Shrader.